Sending data. Start streaming. And there we go. So I need to do that. Start recording. Okay. So this is strange sounds. Moon deities. Whoops. Helps if I can spell the word. And if I've spelled that right. And my computer's frozen. Well, that's great, isn't it? Ah, dear. And the it's done something weird. And the journey. Secret. That's weird. What you're doing there, you strange thing. Okay. I can't get all that on there by the looks of it. Save. Okay. Right, let's put that over there. Right. Put that on there, just in case anyone shows up on Telegram. Okie dokie. I don't need to watch that, do I? Because it's there. Okay, folks, we are streaming everywhere. La la la, la la la. Right. Water. Okay, folks. So, we are on Facebook, aren't we? Yes. We're on Facebook and YouTube and Telegram. Indeed. Okay, so this video is all about moon deities in celebration, because it's a particular day for that today. It's also, if you joined me earlier or if you've seen my video from earlier, it's also a World Dressing Day. So a day for water. It's a water day. Well, it's Moon Day, Monday. So yeah. And it's Spring Bank Holiday. Spring's being connected to water. Ta-da! So what I want to talk about, and it's probably not going to be an hour, to be honest. We'll see. It might be. So what I wanted to talk about was how my connection to two particular deities, although I do work with 1, 2, 3 other moon deities as well. But the main two I work with, how they have brought about secret knowledge, secret wisdom in my witchcraft practice, which, you know, you might be interested in, you might be, maybe, or not. So the two deities, moon deities I work with are Arianrhod and Hekate, but also Thoth, as well as Ishtar and Rhiannon. But, you know, I don't work with them as much. I do, but not as much. So, Arianrhod she represents the full moon and the dark moon. So both of those still points. The completion of everything and the still point before the new energy begins. Yeah, so it's the time of banishing, you know, the going inward, all that stuff, all that really good stuff. Hecate is dark moon and the new moon. So for me personally, and I've worked with them both in the same space, which is quite amazing. In fact, I've worked with Rhiannon, Arianrhod, and Hecate all in the same space, which is even more amazing. I'm not scared of putting, you know, like, why would you be in fear of working with multiple deities? I don't understand that. So both of these deities called me. With Hecate, I'd heard her name multiple times before I connected with her. And it was like, you know, like a guitar string. When it's plucked, it vibrates, it has a frequency. It was like that for me. Arianrhod, pardon me. That was her name written down, actually, funny enough, because I'd never heard of her before. I saw her name written down, and it was like, like a laser beam, which I thought was quite interesting, actually. So that's how I was called by her. So it was like there was definitely, I would definitely say it was an activation, which is frequency. Yeah, it was definitely a frequency. And you know, words, whether spoken or written, have a frequency. They vibrate in a certain way. So, you know, coming as nearly 10, officially, when I was initiated, that was nearly 10 years ago. It'll be 10 years next year, actually. But I'd walked the path on and off for a long time, being like mostly in the broom closet. Never ever telling anyone that, even though it was plainly obvious to everybody that I had a witch about me, which is funny. I thought no one knew, but everyone knew. Everybody said me. It's hilarious. Anyway, yeah. So it was definitely an activation. And both of these deities have guided me on my path of witchcraft, and have really, they've held the space for me to be able to face those thought forms, which had kept me looping in very destructive, self-destructive patterns for a very long time. And it's what's really amazing. And the day of my initiation, after the ritual, I can't remember what I was wearing. I know it was something amazing. Can't remember. And we went for a walk. We have a little, I think it's a square mile of, no, not a square mile. I don't think it's that big. I think it's a few acres of, it's called the Enchanted Woodland, and it's basically where they buried smallpox victims. long time ago. Because they're not allowed to build on it yet, which is really good because it means it can't be fucking built on. So we went for a walk around the Enchanted Woods, and as we're walking around, we went off the beaten path, and we're walking down this not path, and there's this little girl with her dad, and as they're walking towards us, this is amazing, yeah. This little girl, she looked at me and she went, "You're the queen of the fairies." And she was deadly serious. She was not messing about. And I went, "Oh, yes, I am actually. Thank you." And then she disappeared. And I'm like, wow. There are other things that happened on that day as well that were like, just all the signs were there that, yeah, and you've now stepped onto this path that you've actually been wobbling on for a very long time. But now you're on it. Let's do it. And all these things came in, on that day. It was amazing. And I'll never forget that either. So it's like this whole world of magic opened up. Yeah. My magical eyes, it's like the cobwebs were taken off my magical eyes. And the other senses, which in this particular energy we're in right now, this expansion of consciousness, that's your senses. As Linda McGillis says, you have the 360-degree senses, not just 5 or 6 senses, 360 of them. Now, you might wonder what that means. Well, I've experienced that myself through different things, my voice being one of them. Finding it again. Not that I lost it, but you know what I mean. My sense of smell was activated back in 2016, which was quite amazing. I always wondered what this is for. Now I know. Even my hearing, actually, which is quite interesting. Back in 2015, when I was first doing a very, very, very deep dive, learning everything I could about the craft, I got an activation, connection to Venus. And I'm like, whoa. And I would hear, so the planetary sound of Venus, which isn't actually a sound, it's recorded as X-rays and then transcribed into sound because it's a waveform, so you can do that. I was hearing that sound in my ear, just like it was like I had a speaker right next to my ear and it was playing that sound. And it happened probably about halfway through this deep dive that I was doing into the craft. And when I say a deep dive, this was hours every day. Ian was like, "Well, are we going to do anything else?" No, I'm doing a deep dive, thank you. I was so immersed. And I back then, I suppose that's the sort of thing I would do. So I was, you could say, I was not completely balanced at that point. But through this practice, through connecting with these deities, which has been a phenomenal journey and is not finished yet, in no way is it finished. So this whole synchro-mystic path was illuminated for me. And at the time, I didn't realize, we didn't have that word, synchro-mystic. We didn't have synchro-mystic illuminated path, but I had the path. Yeah, I had the path. I had that. So since fully stepping out onto that path, now it's the yellow brick road and it has fairy lights on it and the signposts are so fucking obvious, even I can't miss them. Since that It makes sense to be a sound healer then, doesn't it, really? What's going on here? What's going on here? I'm supposed to be live and the thing has disappeared. Oh, there we go. It's come back again. I think. Oh, no, it's not that hot. I thought my laptop was hot. It's not. Right. So yes. Has Moon Deities frozen? Let's have a look. Oh, it has, isn't it? It's naughty. It's being naughty. Oh, I'm back. Okay, cool. It's still frozen on my screen. Never mind. No, it's disappeared. Yeah, it'll come back in a minute. Don't worry if it goes. It'll come back. It's that blooming gremlins again. They always come up. They always come up. It's really funny. Anyway, yes. So, on this path, I have even trained fledgling witches to, be more confident in their craft, whether they were practicing before or not. That's one of the things I've done. I've released the Kraken. What else have I done? I think for me personally, I've fully allowed myself to do that, to be a witch and to not give a shit. Who knows it, to be quite frank. And, in the past, I've come across people who they were fully on board with ritual and ceremony, but I wasn't allowed to. This is really funny. I wasn't allowed to mention anything about it on their Facebook profile because other people might know about it. So you think people don't know? They know. I had that myself. People don't know I'm hiding it really well. No, you're not. It's just so funny. So yeah, really, really allowing myself to step into that persona and, not shrink away from that. Thank you. And, even being an occultist. So that word used to scare the living daylights out of me, the word occult, because it sounds satanic, doesn't it? Until you go, okay, until you start taking it apart, and it's like, actually, it's just looking at stuff that other people, looking at stuff that's under the rock. Most people don't want to look at that stuff, but I'm going to look at it. I'm going to take things apart, but back together again. So yeah, it's I think for me, what these two deities have done is they've held that space as I am in the beginning floundering around in the dark trying to find my way, until I realized, okay, I can ask them to put the light on. Can you just put the light on for me, please? Yeah, okay. Oh, okay. Now I get it. So, I think for everybody, as we're walking this time of expansion of consciousness, it definitely requires us to come up with new ways of being, new ways of, I want to say thinking. That for us is fluidic thinking. So what that means, and again, all the energies, all the entities that we work with, because that came up for me at the beginning of 2022. I was doing a reading and the words fluidic thinking came up, and I'm like, I don't even know what that is, but the rest of the reading kind of put it all together. It's like not being rigid in your thinking, not being it has to be this way, because the world is not like that. Institutions are like that, but the world is not like that. Nature is not like that. So it was really interesting, and then expanding on that concept, and being open being open to new ways of doing and being and thinking and just how you are in the world, you know. Allowing yourself to fully enjoy every moment, yeah. Even as I'm sitting here and I'm hungry, my dinner's out there waiting to go in the oven, but I'm fully enjoying this moment, yeah. Fully. Because, you know, everything is magic. Everything is magic. And I mean everything is magic. Everything. I'm going to stop saying that now. Because we're all walking this unfolding synchromistic path. Some don't realise that, but we are. What other things have I learned on this path? I've learned because was I a listener? I don't think I was a listener before. Certainly not in the same way that I listen now. Because the listening now comes from a place of stillness and not thinking that I have to have all the answers and tell everyone those answers, even if they don't want to hear that, even if they're saying, Ange, I really don't want to know that. And I used to do that a lot. On the verge of preachy, I would say. So I think that kind of listening, that's an expanded perception. It's like a super awareness. It's like, because I used to think, yeah, because I was always torn. Am I going to try Buddhism or am I going to do witchcraft? Yeah, this was, blimey, nearly 20 years ago. And I sit there and I think, well, I don't know if I could walk down the street and keep looking at the path to make sure I don't tread on any animals. Because, you know, I didn't like a lot of things back then, actually. Lots of things freaked me out. And I used to think, oh, I just can't do that. I can't walk down the street and be looking to make sure I don't tread on an ant or something. Weird things I used to think in my head. And it's funny because I started having the conversation with people that I knew. Do you think it's a path of Buddhism, or do you think it's a path, you know, witchcraft? And they didn't even blink. They just said witchcraft. So I wasn't hiding it at all. So don't think you're hiding it. If you think you're hiding it, then you're not hiding it. So yeah, this sense of super awareness, because I'll tell you something. Where we live, it's not a street or a road, it's like a horseshoe. It's not called a cul-de-sac, it's called a grove. It's a bit fancy, really, even though it's in Dartford. And there's a lot of people who live in this little space who are very unaware, whether it's they're constantly attacking nature or whether they're just, you know, you say hello to them and try and talk to them and they just grunt at you, or whether they're, you know, fly tipping, or whether they let their kids ride up and down on their stupid bikes, yeah, on motorbikes, like very noisy bikes, or whether they're, you know, they're using this little tiny bit of road as a racetrack. You know, it's phenomenal lack of awareness. Yeah. And we were talking about this the other day on the marshes, because, you know, noisy bikes are on there again. And there's people walking there with their dogs. Sometimes there's people walking there with their small children, and it's dangerous. But these people have no awareness whatsoever. None. Some will wait until you go past. Others will not. And they will go past you whether you're in the way or not. And it's phenomenal. It really is. And what I was saying to Ian, it's like what we experience with when you have encounters with people like that is that there is a total lack of awareness. And when you are a being who is extremely conscious and aware, it makes those very unaware people stand out even more. And it's like, how do we tolerate that? How do we manage that? I have different ways depending on my mood on the day. A very powerful way is I like to turn my back on those people if they are being particularly, especially the people on the bikes. And as I turn my back, because I have different types of protection and stuff, I will let spikes fly out of my back. I know, but you know, you reap what you sow. Anyway, I also don't like it's like, because they have a space where they can go and do all that stuff, but they choose either to not do that, or I don't know. It's like, I suppose they're like a distraction. They are a massive distraction. Yeah. So is because the frequency that those bikes emit when they're going past you, it jars your whole being. Unless, of course, I'm firing spikes at them. Anyway, I went off course there. So, you know, we're not infallible as we're walking this path. You know, we are still having a very human experience. So I don't think we can ever be rigid with ourselves with that, or beat ourselves up about that. It's just not. I think it's a gentleness, isn't it? It's and I think that's what I find with both Arianrhod and Hekate. Whoops, I'll do that. Don't get me wrong, they will put things in front of you to challenge your arse. Don't worry about that. But they're not gonna kick you while you're down. You know, if you're having a day, they're not going to kick you while you're down there. I can promise you that. So yeah, course correcting. You know, and I think that comes with the listening. That comes with that super awareness of being able to hear your true nature, your true self, when it's guiding you. And it is a very interesting experience until you get used to that experience. It almost feels like you're a robot, like you're not in control, but you are, obviously. I don't know how else to describe it, but it feels like something else is running the show in a very benevolent way, definitely. So yeah, ouch, bang my elbow. Embracing a magical perspective on this life has been the best thing I have ever done. You know, and it's not like I wasn't having magical and phenomenally synchromistic experiences before, but I would always put it down to, I was just in the right place at the right time. And that's the kind of thing I would say, it's just a bit of luck. I never fully realized that I was actually not properly, you know, when you fully take that and go, I created that. It's a very different feeling. So I created that. Okay, so there's been some things that we've created that we thought while we're in the middle of it, oh my God, what did we do that for? One of those, we were on holiday in Dorset and quite near the coast, near Swanage. And, you know, we usually take a drum of some description with us, and I can't remember what else we had with us on that holiday. So we're sitting there. It was a very warm day. And I think it was the day before we were leaving. We were leaving the following day. So we thought we'd have a nice chilled day on the campsite. It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So we're there and, you know, we're playing the drum and, you know, just messing about. And Ian starts singing this song to the elementals, calling them all, yeah? Earth, air, fire, water, ether, yeah? We were just singing and calling them, yeah? And then there was a most phenomenal sunset. And the clouds made the words, I heart you. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, I've got a photo of it and everything. Yeah, it was. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. This is amazing. Yeah. So we had our dinner. Bearing in mind we're camping, so we're in a tent. Yeah. Very small tents, backpacking tents. Myself and Ian were in one, and Henry was in the other. So we're sitting there, just had our dinner, and we're like, oh, what was that? And it was an orange flash on the just across the way, yeah, on the kind of hill bit before it, on the cliff, top of a cliff. That's the word I'm looking for, because it's the Jurassic coast there. So we're sitting there, oh my God, what was that? I'm like, oh, there's a storm coming over. Yeah, but it's orange. Orange flashes. I'm not joking. So we're sitting there and we're watching it as it's coming over. We did get video footage, some, because it's the night before, you know, all the batteries are running low and everything. So we're sitting there watching the thing come over, and we're like, oh my God, this is going to be a big one. Okay, now, was it? So we had orange lightning. It was the heavens opened like I've never seen before. It was the wind was, I mean, I don't know how our tent stayed up, to be honest, because we were on the top. There was a little hill bit that we used to camp on the top of. It was really nice for the view. And then the earth was shaking as well. So we had all the elements there. Big time. 6 hours. 6 hours. We had a long journey back the next day. But for 6 hours, we were in the elements. Big time. But what's really amazing, yeah, is when we went back there the following time, I think it was a couple of years later, we were like, do you think we could do that again? It's like, wow, we could try. So we did. And it came again. But this time, we shut it down, which was phenomenal. So there is so much that we just, you know, before we step on that path, there is so much that we are unaware of as we sleepwalk through our life. Yeah. Which it's kind of what it, you know, what I was doing before, definitely. It's that very deep connection to nature as a witch. But also as a pagan. Because we have many deities that we connect with, not just one. So, you know, that she speaks when you're on that path and you are deeply connected to nature. She speaks, and she speaks through the elementals, like I just told you, and she speaks through animals, whether that's, you know, your familiars, or the crow that sits on top of the roof sometimes and is when we go out he's calling, and then when we come back he's there calling. Or whether it's on the marshes, when we want the marshes sometimes. So we had that today. It was pissing with rain. We got caught in the rain without jackets or anything, and as we're walking past where the frogs are, they get louder and louder and louder and louder, and we walk past and we come back and they were quiet. But it's like you have this dialogue because you are nature. So your nature is having a conversation with nature, if that makes sense. And it is, it could be trees, it could be anything nature you have a conversation with when you're on this path. And I say when you're on this path because it's a deliberate thing that you're doing when you're stepping onto that path and you're walking it. It's very deliberate. And I am always blown away. Anyone who speaks to me will tell you, whenever someone's talking about synchronicities and the synchronistic path, and when I'm talking about it, I just go, yes, I love it. I love it when this happens, because it just confirms everything. Yeah, that everything is magic. Everything is magic. So what has all this got to do with moon deities? Well, I would say that Hekate has definitely guided me in my craft, definitely, because one of the first rituals, it was an indoor one. I'm trying to think. The first group ritual we did actually was Beltane, and that we did that one outside, which was quite amazing. I wasn't using specific deities during that. I was using the god and the goddess. But I do vaguely remember when we were doing regular full moon, new moon gatherings. I remember being quite in awe, actually, of Hecate. First time I called her, I was a bit worried. She was a bit scary. I still hadn't done my work on being not scared of shit then. But so, even that, even being scared of things that I couldn't see, that's gone now. Completely. I could never, back then, I couldn't imagine myself ever, holding a spirit board session or going on a ghost hunt or walking through the woods at night. I just would not. There's no way I would be doing those things at all. At all. But these things that are we asked to let go of them? Well, we kind of are, actually, especially now at this time, because you can't, if you're going up a narrow set of steps that has, it's a bit like Alice in Wonderland, with smaller and smaller doorways, you're not going to fit through that if you're carrying a massive, great big rucksack full of shit. Yeah, you just won't. You got to put it down. You got to take it off and put it down and leave it. Just leave it. Because most of that stuff in there is not going to be yours to carry anyway. So, being able to progress and grow, you know, it's an evolutionary thing. You're evolving, so why wouldn't, you know, I just needed a little bit of help with that, you know what I mean? I will say, you know, all deity is as an aspect of, they are all aspects of you. They are all facets of you. Because as a multi-dimensional being of light, you're not just going to be one thing, are you now? No. Arianrhod, so it's really interesting. When I was connecting with her, it was during a meditation, and I felt something being placed on my head. Oh my God, what is that? And normally what I would do if I got anything like that in a meditation, I'd be like, oh, get off, get off. I'd be all like that. But, you know, I'd learned to not do that. What's that dog doing? He's being weird. Dog's being weird. And what I realised, what she told me, was that she'd put a crown on my head, not as like a queen or anything like that, but it's the symbol of sovereignty. I'm like, okay, this is some serious stuff then. So that for me was about really stepping up and into that, my true self, if that makes sense. And she has lit the way. And, you know, we have been through some very challenging experiences these past few years. But she's lit the way, without question, as has Hecate, actually. She even gave me a song. I was having a pre-ritual cleansing bath, and whilst I was in there, she gave me this song. I'm like, oh, okay, I've got to try and remember that. So we use this song for her to call her when we need. So it definitely is it can be a challenge to become that, pardon me, self-realized sovereign being. But you know what we're finding now is that it's actually becoming, I would say, putting it out there, a lot easier to embrace that in this energy that we're walking right now. It feels like we can do that, and we can do it more. And in fact, what happens when we do is things happen very quickly. That's kind of what we're experiencing at the moment. And what's interesting, because I've got, let's see, I said it wasn't going to be an hour. It's going to be an hour. I'll waffle on forever. So just recently, literally within the past week, it's quite exciting, I have been called to step forward even more. Okay. Not just doing what I'm doing here now, and the radio show and all that stuff. And Ian's been inspired with stuff that he's doing as well. It's quite amazing, actually. This is around connecting to Andromeda and the Andromedans via Thoth, actually, which is interesting. So far, I've had a clearing. I had something here cleared. It was very visual when they were doing it. It was like, whoa, what's that? And I had lots of other things that happened in that meditation as well. So I'm I'm prepped. That's how it feels. I'm prepped. So we'll see how that unfolds on this synchronistic path. So there's always an expansion. You know, I heard that today somewhere. We level up and then expansion happens, and then that's what happens when something expands. It doesn't just move outwards, it moves up and out. So that's what's happening to us at the moment, if you like. That's what it feels like anyway. So I just want to end with, you know, this is something that I recommend that you connect to, you know, a moon deity in your practice, whether it's, you know, whether you're a witch who's a pagan, or you're just a pagan, or maybe you're a witch who's never connected to deity before. I don't know. I suppose, you know, if you want to do it, then do it. I would say that it will enhance your magical practice, definitely. And once you are walking the path with these energies, with these entities, the deities, because once you're here on this path, you will realize that everything is magic. And unless you want to close your eyes, stick your fingers in your ears and pretend that you're asleep when you're actually awake, then there's actually no going back from that. Unless you're going to shut your eyes, put your fingers in your ears and go la 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 and pretend you're asleep. For me anyway. That's kind of where I'd land with that. So I trust that you've enjoyed this little musing of mine. You might have done, I don't know. So yeah, just looking at the chats. Nothing in the chat. So unless, whoops, there we go. If anyone has a question or anything, oh, don't do that. Oh no, don't do that. Get a weird echo. Not sure what's going on there actually. That's weird. Very strange. No. Oh, trying to press the button without muting myself. Val is typing. Cool. Don't know if anyone's actually watching. I'm not sure where to get that information actually. I'm still learning. Thank you, Val. Well, with any luck, you know, well, hopefully it'll be a bit of help to someone. I'm quite enjoying these, so I'm going to keep doing them. Hello, Smurf. Let me have a look. By the looks of it, there's no one else viewing at the moment on the other on the other platforms. Cool. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Val. I certainly enjoyed waffling on, that's for sure. So if you are watching on YouTube or Facebook, give it a like or a thumbs up or whatever. If you want to leave a comment underneath, you can. I'm going to end it there because we're going to go and have our dinner. Thank you, Val. Right, folks, I'm going to leave it there. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to do all the things if you liked it. But for now, I'm going to say stay fearless and blessings.